Producer, come on.
Pardon? All right, so we're starting now, okay? Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Michael Asante.
Indeed. What's
We're
up?
back, episode 16.
Mad 16, bruv.
I want to do something a little bit different this episode. I'm going to focus on one topic. And so, I am probably guessing that you have come across this topic this week.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Actually,
please don't let it be Kanye West, bro.
Nah, I can't do Kanye. I feel like, you know what's mad is that we haven't really done Kanye on this pod, and I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy,
bro.
I'm quite happy because I'm like,
but you know, I want to acknowledge something first.
Go on.
I want to acknowledge that we've got our producer in the house.
Big up the producer.
Yeah.
Have we sacked Nana?
I don't think we've sacked Nana.
Okay, so this
She's
is
just
like a freelance producer.
This is just, they've got the same kind of smile
this
and,
is like our work
skin
experience.
tone, so we work with him.
Hold on.
Do you want us to say your name? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Go on, just speak. Go on.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Okaija. I've also been a guest on here, and now I am Mum's replacement since that seat is at the shop for another hour.
Wow. Look at this guy came with a proper...
Probably had a spiel and everything.
Yeah, man. Fantastic. Very well done, man.
Cool.
And you're very, very handsome, I'd like to say.
All right. Yeah, so that is Okaija sitting on us. So
Indeed.
I blatantly got to watch my language because this man will pull me for my language, you know.
You see, bruv, I totally forgot about that. This is a clean one.
Yeah, this guy will pull me for my language. They do it on a regular basis.
And you know what? That's fair enough.
It's fair enough.
I think that's
you know
fair enough,
that, bro. I tell you what, there's no more humbling feeling than swearing and then your child going, Dad.
Bruv, the best one. So my goddaughter, yeah, Sahara. Me and her dad was talking. Bruv, we are zooming. And COVID times, and he's in like the back of the house.
Yeah.
So I'm talking wherever I'm talking. Next minute, bruv, it was like the auntie came. She came with a little head wrap, and a little shawl. She came and she's like, Uncle Michael, this is bad. Stop talking that way. And I, so sorry. Both me and dad. Oh, sorry, Sahara. Sorry.
Bruv, that's it. There's nothing.
Bruv, it's humbling because we know what we're doing is incorrect.
Yeah, that's it.
And we've been telling them.
You can't be ignorant. You can't be ignorant to it. So you just gotta be like, yeah, sorry, I messed up.
But how you doing anyway,
bro? Do you know what? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So
look, come on. Nah, you better say, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm feeling sweet. Sweet.
Yeah.
So I
see the haircut as well. Man. The haircut's looking.
I feel, listen, if I can get babysitters, even I'll go out tonight and just
hey, Chalet, come on, get it.
So yeah, last night I was at a funeral, right?
Mm-hmm. Look, let's give context, man. People need to understand because how are you smiling and all happy with a fresh haircut? You went to a funeral. This is Ghana funeral.
Let me land. Let me land in it. And it's true. You're right. Ghana funeral is not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
You might find your wife.
We do it very different.
You might find your husband.
I've already found one.
No.
I just want to be clear.
That was really what you found your husband. I said husband. That was a sly pause. All right, I think I got you there that time.
No, so anyway, I was there, saw a lot of family members that I hadn't seen in a minute. Bruv, there's nothing sweeter than when you see people and they're like, there's two things that happened yesterday actually.
Oh yeah.
The first one is like when they see you go, oh, you really lost weight, bruv.
Your goal.
Bruv.
Your May goal is coming.
I'm coming. You don't even know. I was like, you don't even know. I haven't even started yet.
But then don't you feel a bit hot? Because that means when they saw you before, they were like, oh.
No, I accept I was fat.
He was.
I was.
Okay.
I not even that I accept I was fat. I accept that I still am. Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
I'm still over.
I would say I'm slightly overweight. I would definitely say that.
You know what I mean? I accept that. Like I said in the other pod, you got to know if you're a 5, innit? You got to know where you are.
Fair play.
You got to know where you are. But yeah, so that was the number one thing. Like better people just being like, oh, you really slipped. You
just wore black. Yeah. That's all it was because it was a funeral.
I was in white.
Okay.
I was in white.
All right.
Sure did. Right. So that was one. Yeah. And then number 2, the amount of people that were like, yo, I'm loving the podcast.
No way.
Bruv.
No way.
Bruv.
Yo, come on.
But you know,
we're trying to think.
You know what killed me yesterday though? So came back from the funeral, picked up the boys from my mum. And then I was talking to Okaija about like, oh yeah, it was weird, like just having all of these people come up. Like it was probably about 4 or 5 different people
nice.
that came up to me and was like, loving the podcast. And then one person was like, when you bring Meant to Excel back. But that's another story.
Okay.
And I was just like, I was saying like how it feels weird because you obviously, we've said it before, you're just sitting here doing whatever it is that you're doing. But, you know, there are people there that are actually watching and listening and consuming and waiting every week for the upload and this, that, and the other. And I was just surprised at the number of people that came up to me and said, and he goes, yeah, no, I'm surprised as well, Dad. Because, you know, like really, when you think about the numbers that you get on YouTube, I'm surprised. I was going to say, I was like, where's this going? It took man straight back to Humble. But it was playing Kendrick Humble loud. It was like, humble yourself. Sit down, Dad. I'm surprised 4 people came up to you. You know, you're just like, ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
But you know what?
But it's real.
It's true.
It's
It's
what it
true.
is.
He
It's
said
what
the
it
thing
is.
for real.
It is what it is.
That is.
So yeah, but
hilarious.
so that was last night. So but I'm good. It was like I said, it was nice the
I'm
acknowledgement that, you know, all right, what I'm doing is working, is starting to slowly pay off in both my health and what we're doing with this
yes,
pod.
indeed.
So it's,
I like that. That's a nice. That's coinciding.
Yeah,
In a nice way.
so that's cool. And you, my guy.
Bruv, I'm all right, man. You know what? I did a random podcast, but it was a wicked podcast.
When I saw you,
when you saw me randomly at the BBC.
Yeah.
It was called Add to Playlist. What do you call it? Yeah, you should check it out anyway. But bruv, like that week, I said the reason why I mentioned that is because I said at that podcast, I'm glad that December's come because for me it's an opportunity of trying to have a relaxing few weeks. So I'm just looking forward. A lot of my projects, one project is ramping up. One is about to kick in like in January mainly. And then the other 2 that I was finishing off have like petered out. So I'm just waiting for a nice relax, and slowly I'm finding that little bit of space to kind of relax. So bruv, it's been really, really chill.
Good.
But then also at the same time, I'm grateful that I'm gonna spend time with family. That's kind of the main thing. So yeah, man, it's just that's on the horizon and it's keeping me going right now.
It's weird because it's like and my man will probably vouch for it. It's like I'm never really that excited
about Christmas
sort of thing, and so I have to try extra hard to, you know,
because when you're a parent as well, it's just peas coming out of your pockets.
Go on, speak.
What's wrong? His mic is not working.
No, it's not working.
I'm low.
No, you're not.
All right, sorry.
You know. Well, that's your producer, bro.
Well,
so what can we do?
There you go.
You get me? Look at the smile.
So, but yeah, going back to when I saw you.
Oh yeah.
So randomly, what was it? It was Tuesday? It was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. Yeah.
So I'm on my way to go and meet Melvin at the BBC. Bless you. I'm on my way to meet Melvin at the BBC, and then we're heading down to the South Bank to go and watch a recording of Stormzy. I think it was for Amazon.
Yeah.
Twitch, right?
I saw one of my friends who works on that project. She was posting stuff actually.
Yeah. So literally, as I turn up to the building, and I swear down, maybe about an hour ago, we were even texting.
Yeah. I think you texted me.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it. Yeah. I think I was riding up.
That's it.
Yeah.
So like literally about an hour ago, I'm like on the train, texting Mike, trying to work out to record today's podcast, which I flipped the dates about so many times. Indeed. But that's another story. And so then I come out the station, I'm walking out to the BBC, turn the corner, I'm like, you know when you see somebody slightly out of context?
Yeah, it feels a bit confusing.
Yeah.
You get a moment like,
huh? Oh, okay.
Why am I here?
Yeah. And so I turn the corner, see Mike, and he was like, yo, what's going on? But anyway, saw Mike. Obviously, you went and did your podcast, met up with Melv, went down to South Bank, sat and watched this thing. Now, interestingly enough, our producer was saying to me the other day, like randomly came up to me and was like, Dad, next year, Burna Boy is performing on your birthday. I think you should go.
Wow.
Okay. Day before my birthday, I think you should go. And I was like, you know, I'm not really a concert man. Like, I don't really. Like, he goes, no. And first, I don't know why this guy was so adamant. Like, Dad, you have to go.
That's interesting.
No. So, gone to this Stormzy thing, sat down. And as I sat in my seat, I don't know what it was, but something unlocked in me. And I was like, nah, bruv, you know you enjoy live music. Like, you absolutely, like, bro, there's a feeling when I go and watch something live. Now, I say the only difference is I prefer it when it's slightly more intimate. So big concerts,
like an unplugged vibe.
Yeah. But like, there's something, and I got it when I left there as well. I always know there's something that is like, it just, number one, it kind of touches me, and I always come out. There's like a spark that's been lit creatively.
Okay, yeah, I hear you.
And that was no difference. Like, kind of listening to the album or listening to songs from the album.
I haven't listened to it yet, man. But I see one of my brothers has produced on it as well, Progression. And,
yeah. Okay, yeah. Bro, I'm like, you know what it is? It's definitely not like any of his previous albums.
Okay. Heard it's a little bit more emotional.
Way more emotional. Yeah. And what was interesting, a friend of mine, he was like, listen, I love the album, yeah. However, I don't know how this is going to translate in a concert because everything is so, mellow, lovey, there's not really, like, even like My Presidents Are Black, like, it's not even really like club. And I just thought to myself, it's interesting because does everything have to translate into a club scenario or a concert scenario? Like, can't we just listen to and enjoy this body of music for what it is, for where we are, car, home, whatever? So I thought that was interesting. But he was asked a question by Gabrielle. Gabrielle was there. Dreams can come true. And she asked him what, when he's older, blah blah blah, what he wants his legacy to be. And I love questions like that. I love questions about legacy and shit like that. Sorry.
Man just looked at you like, Dad.
I love questions about legacy. And he said, to paraphrase, because somebody said this to him, he views it as like, you have like the ocean, yeah, and there's rivers and streams all going into the ocean. And he was like, I just want to be
a stream
or a river into the ocean, just to know that I played my part.
Yeah.
And it was such a simple analogy, but when I tell you, it just went,
yeah.
And then the thing that really resonated with me was like, when it comes to, and years ago, we had a conversation about this when there was one time in your flat, and probably, I don't even know if you remember, but it was about creativity and kind of sparking that creativity. And it was that thing of like, sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah. You just have to start.
You don't, because I always have the thing of like, but this person's doing that, this person's doing that. It's not really and it was like, no, because you don't even know. And it's not even to like say I'm bigging up myself or anything like that. But like, by you not doing something, you don't know what.
Yeah, you're not allowing to manifest.
Yeah, and what you're not putting into the world. Like, even as I said, another thing came into my head. I don't know if you remember this. So years ago on Facebook, there was this thing of 100 days of gratitude.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And so I started doing 100 days of gratitude.
Yeah.
And then you messaged me. Yeah. And you said you've inspired me, but I'm going to do mine slightly different.
Yeah, with music.
And you did 100 days of beats.
Yeah, beats. Yeah,
and
I think I got. Did I get to 100? I don't know. I got to like.
You got far, but then you know what was funny about that? And then one of the songs that you made, inspired me to write a little short.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And so, but then that goes back to the thing of like doubting yourself, because then I wrote it and like with a lot of my stuff just sits there because I'm like, but you start putting all of this doubt in there of like, is it worthy? Is it good enough? And what have you? And so, so just sitting there listening to him say that, I was just like, you've just got to create. And you've just got, and that was the other thing. He was like, when I made this album, I made it for me. Like, I didn't make it for, I didn't put anybody in mind.
Exactly.
I was like, it's not for the fans. It's not for it's like, do I like it? Yeah. Okay.
And I think is what I wanted to kind of respond with in part was the fact that an artist has to make his art or her art.
Yeah.
The notion of it doing all of those things, it's a strategy. It's something you can do. It's something you can create. And there's so many artists on the planet that have that legacy. I remember just talking about Kendrick when he made After Good Kid, Mad City. There was nothing I could play in the clubs And I felt that because for me, it was more that I want to glorify his music in that setting, just for my own selfish needs. But then he made those pieces of work. And then obviously Damn came out. And that was the next time I could actually play him in the club. That's how I was kind of seeing it. And yeah, you can have those wants and desires for yourself and the artist. But more than anything else, the art has to resonate, it has to be authentic. And what's beautiful is that album, the guy who said what he said, might not connect with him now in terms of where he is now, but something else going on in his life, that album he might come back to
it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like you said, as the river, it's now there and it exists, and it's now a part of music law, British music law, that anyone can just now get involved in. And that's it. And I think sometimes people have to understand that about work. Van Gogh died destitute and poor. You know what I mean? And it's wait, hold on. I don't want to always connect it to capitalism and the notion of making money. But Van Gogh is a good example of why you just sometimes have to do the work. It's sad. He had the destitute situation where he was broke and had nothing to his name when he died. But then the name of and his works managed to transcend him after the fact. And obviously his family are chopping off that.
You know, the thing is, you touched on something there, which is such another thing for me. Like, I struggle to subscribe to the thing of the struggling artist, in the sense that I hate that this narrative has been built up around it.
It has some correlation though.
Yeah, it's real. It's real, but I hate the fact that it's real. So I hate the fact that traditionally we know that, you know, there's a stereotype of the actor being the waiter waiting for the next job. And I just feel, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the thing is, but there needs to be a shake-up in the industry where it's like, yeah, people can just get paid for their art and we're not even really thinking about it. Like, it shouldn't be because I'm an artist, either an actor, a writer, or a singer. And just because it's art, it shouldn't be that I then can't aspire to have nice things. I can't aspire to, because if you think about somebody, if you take two people, 16-year-olds, best friends at school, one is like, I'm gonna be a lawyer, and the other is like, I'm gonna be an actor. You know that all being well, both of them giving the same work rate to what it is that they want to do. By the time that lawyer hits the age of 35, they are like house, car, doing all right.
Possibly.
Holiday.
I see your point.
I'm generalizing, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
However, for that actor, was that flat share, doing contact center job.
I'm laughing because obviously, look at the comparison you give.
And I just don't think it's fair.
Yeah, it's funny.
I know it's life. It's life.
It's funny because the thing that you said, it talks about so many other things, because you're talking about an industry which is built on certain people staying rich and certain people being, you know, getting shafted. Like that's, I mean, in my career,
Dame Dash, music industry, all of that.
Yeah, I could tell you in my career, you know, I was put in particular positions. Like one of our first shows, like the money that we got and the money that someone else got was very, very different. And I know I did heavy lifting. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We did heavy lifting. Yeah. And it's like, the thing that first came into my head is that when people turn around and say, no, you got to pay your dues. And that's the thing that I think is, I would more so want to challenge, because unfairly, there is experience matters, and it matters in every industry. And with that lawyer, like you said, at 35, they would have done the work. Yeah. There's no way that lawyer is just gonna get to 35 and be in that position. They have to find what they want to like lock into because law is a massive seat. And then they've got to figure out how am I gonna get there? And they would have had their certain level of struggles, probably be in more debt than that individual who's doing the flat share and is not putting themselves in. There is that possibility. And I mean, I'm just giving pushback just to make sure the conversation's healthy. And then also in the same part, it's like, if I didn't have that road, and I'm not talking starving artists, you know, there was some rough times, but now I know how to hold on to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There is a part of, I think, just being human that unfortunately that does live.
But then I would argue, not even argue, is that the only way you could have learned those lessons?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good question. But I do believe I cannot change that. Because without them...
It's your journey. It's your journey.
Yeah,
it's your journey.
But it's a good question. It's a good question. And I think more than anything else, what I wanted to add to was a friend of ours who's not with us anymore, Tanisha Bonner is her name. She said something through a friend to me the other day when we were discussing just about the notion of ideas and goals and the creative's job. Because we were just discussing like the creative job. Our creative job is the notion to want to fix things. I think that's an inherent state. Yeah, okay. So you will find the creative person in majority of the groups is the person who wants to solve, fix. But really, that's the creative job. They're trying to put something together that doesn't exist, or they're trying to create or make something fresher, or they're trying to, so it's always a solving thing. But she said to him, do you know where the most fertile soil is in the whole world?
Where?
And then he was like, where? And she goes, the grave, the what's the name of the cemetery? Because that's where all the good ideas are. People went with those ideas. And her whole point was, she's like, so the whole important thing about life is to leave this earth empty. Empty.
Pour everything out.
It all out.
Yeah.
And the thing for me about ideas anyway and creativity and the space that I stay is, and I can see your hand. I know you would have asked that. Hey, we'll get to you. Don't worry. Put your hand down, man. You're not at school. Yeah. The thing that I know that I know I live by, I'm not scared of giving my ideas and putting them out because it gives more space for the new ones to come in. Because that one's done. That one's out there now. So taking those two things, I think, adding to your rivers and sea analogy, I think that's super important, man. But now, what did you want to say?
Wait. If you're gonna talk.
Do you want to give him if you're gonna talk?
You're gonna talk.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Probably just lift it up a little bit more for him.
So what you were saying about what's it called? Where the most fertile soil is, and you're saying in the cemetery.
Yeah.
But it's not really that, because after you were saying, but you need to leave the world empty. There could be a cemetery where everyone has just left, like a royal cemetery where everyone has just left the ideas with someone else, or they've wrote it in a notebook. And someone else.
So they've handed it.
You know what? That's fair, and I think let's hope that that's the case. Do you know what I mean? Because the point of what she was saying was that people die with those dreams and those goals and those ideas. So even though I know what you're saying is it could be true as well, is that no matter what, we who are living should aspire to leave the earth empty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You should want to try. So even you as an athlete, you should try your hand in as many different things. You shouldn't just say, I'm just going to do football. I'm just going to do this one art. You should say to yourself, no, I'm going to try and see if I can be really good at cooking. I'm going to be really good at this, good at that. What are we laughing at?
Because I know what he's going to say next.
What are you coming to say?
Go on, say it. Let's say the word. Let's say the word on three. One, two, three. Basketball.
So he wants to do basketball too. Why are you laughing so hard? He's laughing so hard.
Like the moment you said that, I was like, this boy's going to bring up basketball.
Listen,
again.
Allen Iverson. Do you know Allen Iverson? Allen Iverson managed to play basketball, I think baseball, and I might be totally wrong, but he definitely played football, American football, and basketball pretty much simultaneously for a period.
There you go.
And he excelled in both. He was brilliant in both. Jordan didn't have that career with baseball.
Baseball or golf. I swear golf, he did try to do golf.
Well, golf I think was a passion. I don't know whether he tried to do it like to a real sense.
Yeah, that the baseball team did not happen.
Nah, bro. It's a whole and you know what was wicked watching The Last Dance was how when he came back and he couldn't get, and he had to train. They said, now you've changed your muscle makeup. Yeah. Crazy. But anyway, we have, bro, that's a long, long deep dive today.
That's and that's the pod for today.
No, are we going to move on to the what's it called videos?
Yes, we are.
That's what my first question was.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
All
sir.
right. So,
Yeah.
as I said earlier,
Yeah.
I wanted to do,
Yeah.
So I've actually got one video today.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
and it's
Major
and
deep dive.
It's so this week there was an event at the Royal House. Royal House?
I don't know which one.
Buckingham Palace, Royal Palace.
Mhm.
All right. So a lady, Ngozi Fulani from Sister Space, was there, obviously mingling and mingling.
That's a word. Mingling.
And then she was asked by one of the Queen's like most senior aides. Lady.
Was it the aide? I thought it was like one of the family.
She is one of the family, but she's an aide as well.
Oh, okay.
I think they call her the lady in waiting.
Mad.
Anyway, so she's asked her. She said to her, like, you know, where are you from? And it obviously sparked up a whole big can of worms, because for any black or brown people watching this, we all know. I forgot to know. We all know that term is loaded
Fully.
But what was interesting for me is kind of watching people on the newspaper comment sections and whatnot have you, generally white people, is there, and I'm not even like pushing back on them. It's just it is what it is, and where they were like, don't see anything wrong. Like, can't you just ask somebody where they're from?
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, you can, and you should be able to ask from,
have a go.
But there's also have a go, innit?
Have a go.
But there, you can't deny the layers to this, and also specifically in this situation. She was asked, and the woman, lady Sarah Hussey or whatever, was actually quite belligerent.
Yeah, that's what I think was the challenge, because I read it, I didn't see it or read it. Sorry, or view any person talking on it, but I read what was said, and she had already said, "This is where I'm from," and then that should have been the end of the conversation.
There you go.
I mean, that happened to me most recently, like 3-4 weeks ago. Someone said, "No, but where are you really from? Your people."
It's the question. It's the question of Britishness. So I want to play this quick clip as just like an intro into it. But I don't necessarily want to specifically just stay on the topic of what happened at the palace.
Fine.
It's like,
because we talk about it as a broader
subject.
I got you. Fair.
Did they ever ask you where you're from?
Oh, okay.
Like,
Raz.
Yeah, but where you really from? The question seems simple, but the answer's kind of long. See, I could tell them Wembley, but I don't think that's what they want. But I don't want to tell them more, because anything I say is wrong. See, Britain's where I'm born, and I love a cup of tea and that. But tea ain't from Britain, it's from where my DNA is at. And where my jeans are from, that's where they stitch your jeans that I wear out in NYC. That's where I stack my peas in that. See, skinheads meant I never really loved the British flag. And I only got the shits when I went back to pack. And my ancestors Indian, but India's lost love for us. But my people built the West. We even gave the skinheads swastikas.
Mad.
Now, everybody everywhere want their country back. If you want me back to where I'm from, then bruv, I need a map. Or if everyone just gets their stuff back, then that's blessed for us. You only built a piece of this place, bruv. The rest was us.
That's a nice little intro into that.
Yeah, he touched on so many relevant points of this duality of being British, but your parents, well, being British and your skin not being white, which was interesting because even earlier on this afternoon, and this was really like made me think about something. I was talking to our producer about this, and what did I say to you?
I forgot.
So, but either way, cheers. Thanks, producer. So, I asked him where he was from. And he was like, the way he looked at me like, So I was telling him about this situation that happened. And then he said, somebody said that to me just the other day. Like, where are you from?
Wow.
Okay. And I said to him, well, what did you say? Where did you tell them he was from? And then he looked at me and he was like, Nigeria. But what's interesting is because the concept for him was like, it wasn't even like, oh, I'll tell them that I'm British or Ghanaian. He was just like, I'm Ghanaian.
Dad, but I would never say that I'm British or English. I usually just say, oh, I'm Ghanaian.
Why do you think that is?
Because I like Ghana.
Is
And
that it?
Not.
But you were born here though.
Yeah, and I thank England for letting me have birth here. But I was good too. I just don't say that I'm from England because, like, I will say I'm from Wales because I know my great grandfather is from. But unless I don't have genes from there, I won't say I'm not from. I'm from
Right.
that country.
So that's what he said. He said genes from
That's
there.
it. Yeah, that's yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
And where have you got this understanding? Is it mum and dad, or is it something inside you?
Inside myself, this is how I feel. Like, I feel Ghanaian. I'm not any part English. I'm just Ghanaian. Oh wow.
I would say that that's beautiful that he feels that way, and it does come from a space that's within. But I think what's interesting is when you live in this country, more than anything else, does it matter? Like, I think, does it matter? And I'm not asking you this question, yeah. Just for now, I'm not asking you this question, okay, Okaija. But does it matter where that person is from? Why is it such a question? Like, that's the bigger part that I would think.
Yeah.
I think the next time I do find myself into that scenario, I was like, why does it matter?
So the thing is, where's the line between me just being curious, just because I'm just a curious person, I like people, like I travel a lot, I like to meet new people, and so if I know, like, I don't think it's an unfair assumption to see a black person and assume that you're
From somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think that's an unfair assumption. However, I do think that you should have the wherewithal to know when is the right place to ask a question.
But what? But like, I'm still stuck in it. It's like, if we go back to that Sarah's point, what was about to change once this new information was inputted into your brain?
It's all it is people trying to make connections. So, for example, my time driving Uber, right? You get people in the car and you can see they're just dying for conversation. And all they're trying to do is fish for commonality.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah?
Fair. You know what? I think you're spot on, because I'm going to say something quite inflammatory now.
Go on then.
But it was the moment that happened with me most recently. The man came up to me. It was two gentlemen. I think that they were partners. And he's spoken to me, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, he's seen me. Obviously, he's seen a black man." So then he's gone, "Oh, so yeah, so where are you from? Like, where are your?" And I said, "Oh, like, I'm from London." Yeah. And then he goes, "No, like your family, like, where my family." So I said, "Oh, where my family are from?" And then he goes, "Yeah, like," and I said, "Ghana," and he said, "Oh, Ghana." So instantly, he connected Ghana with all of the things he had experience with Ghana. And the inflammatory thing is this. And sorry to my Nigerian brothers and sisters.
I knew you were gonna say this. They say it all the time, bruv.
Bro,
They say it all the I wonder what they say when they meet a Nigerian.
Bro, because this guy said to me, "Oh, Ghanaians have got very, very beautiful smiles. Not like the Nigerian crocodile smile." Bruv, I was like, yo, bro, do you know what you're saying right now, my brother? So much so, the person I was with, he saved me. He just was like, "Yeah, come, let's move along." Bruv, and I was like, wow. So that's the thing that's interesting.
Yeah.
Why does it matter? Is it because, think about it like this.
So is it a thing
tribal situation? If we just use Ghana as just as our microcosm for a moment. Ghans and Ashantis. Yeah. One, you are a Ghan, I'm a Ghan, I'm part Ghan, but Ashanti is probably the main heritage that I live with. We have our stereotypes about our tribe. So are people making those choices and those decisions of how they deal with or how they work with? And this is just to create conversation, because I'm still stuck on the point is, why do you need this information? It don't change a thing. But just to make the conversation a bit more broader, like, is it okay that people try and find these ways to carve out, number one, commonality, but number two, turn around and really deal with how do I operate, because this person's coming from a particular tribe, particular space, particular place. So therefore, these are their customs. These are the way they think. This is how they operate. And so this is how I need to kind of align myself in order to operate with them.
You know what it is? It's intention. And
True.
I think when you've been on this earth long enough and experienced the different versions of people asking that question, you get a sixth sense
Of how and why. Yeah. Why they're.
Yeah. And so I feel like probably going back to the palace situation, you know the intention.
So, okay, let's try and go down on that a little bit more. Was the intention to determine status and position in regards, you're already a royal. So everyone technically is, you know, in a space of, you know, we're all kind of giving up towards the crown in some way, shape or form, regardless of who holds it.
Yeah.
But essentially, do you think it was in part trying to figure out status of position?
No, I actually think it was, and I'm looking at my phone because it's the transcript.
The transcript, yeah.
I actually think the initial thing from the woman was looking for commonality,
and then it moved into frustration and just like, let me know, man. Why are you making it difficult?
And this is where it changed, and this is what a lot of people don't clock, right? So, Lady SH, where are you from? Sister Space. No, where do you come from? We're based in Hackney. No, what part of Africa are you from?
Look at the accent you're using, by the way.
I don't know. They didn't leave records.
Mad.
Well, no. So most people at that point
clocked out. They're like, yes, it's leave it. Okay. Leave it alone.
You leave it alone. But she didn't. And this is, for me, this is the kicker line, but nobody wants to talk about this line. Well, you must know where you're from. I spent time in France. Where are you from?
I spent time in
France. Let's break
France.
Down that sentence.
So what she's trying to say is she, at a period in her life, she lived in France and had experience of
How
French.
is it relevant to anything?
I'm trying to make it make sense. That's all.
Please.
I'm thinking
Please.
she was in France.
Yeah.
So therefore she was like, I was in a circumstance where I was out of my heritage space. And bro, I'm trying too hard, man. I'm trying too hard.
This is the sentence.
Yeah.
Well, you must know where you're from, comma. Let's take that first of all. She's clearly told you, I don't know where I'm from because you never left records. So, you know, she's told you she doesn't know where you're from. So, to be so obtuse to be like, you must know where you're from. No. Do you know how many
displaced individuals, yeah?
Right, okay.
Who've got surnames that do not correlate to anything African.
Evans. and so then it's I spent time in France.
Yeah.
Like, how does that connect to anything?
It doesn't.
At all. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Where are you from again? So you're still going in on the thing. And so at that point, she's like, here, UK. Now, this brings me to my other point. I think it's impossible to be black and to be seen as British. Because
if you're not wearing a football kit,
but even then,
we know that, but at least you can identify. He's got. No, when I mean that, I mean he's actually in the football squad.
You know what? I'm going to segue for a second.
Not just wearing a football top. Yeah.
I'm going to segue for a second because something you bringing up the football team when the Euros happened.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the boys watch, you know, that penalty shootout. But I looked at them and thought they are connected to this team in a way that we never were.
And bro, there were young men. I don't know whether your boys had that, but there were young men that knew. Remember, we had just come out of COVID, so some of them went from 14 to 16.
Yeah.
So that means they went from 14 to 16 without real life happening around them. Let's say, let's call it that, real life. Even though that's, you know, it was real life at that time. But imagine there were kids who connected with, there is going to be an issue after this.
Yeah.
They knew
that
when these boys missed those penalties, things are going to happen and it's not going to be nice.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be from the media, whether it's going to be from people at school, they already knew.
Yeah.
And I'm saying those guys wore those kits. And that's the only way we could say we actively can see they're British.
Yeah.
Because they got kits on and they're running on the pitch trying to score a goal for England.
And in any other situation. But the funny thing is, because then you fast forward to the World Cup just gone, the opening match against Iran, was it? And it's 6-2. And who was it? Was it Foden that scored the last one? Grealish that scored the last one.
I called Grealish. The boy said Grealish. You said Grealish.
Grealish. I'm calling him Grealish.
His name is
Grealish. Okay. But so Saka scored 2. So basically, the rest of the goal scorers were black. Who makes the head? Who makes the?
Come on, Grealish, right?
And
Was
it's
it Grealish?
and it's all of these things that, because even I remember posting and I said, like, at this point, if you refuse to see it, or if you say you can't see it, it's on you. Like, this is willful ignorance.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that deep, as much as it sometimes, unfortunately, is. It's so hard to say this, bro.
Cool. Sometimes
they know if they don't do X, something ain't gonna happen.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
So if we don't put that guy on the front of the thing, people ain't gonna pick up the papers or something.
Yes and no.
No, bro, I'm just adding that as a point because I don't even know. I don't even know.
Because that's always been, and again, it's like I'm bringing Stormzy into everything, but that's always been a narrative. Even in one of, I think it's My Presidents Are Black, and he says they sold us this thing of one at a time.
Yeah.
But even if I bring Black Panther into it, when the first one came and the records it broke, but you'll tell us that movies with black people don't sell. And it's like, yeah, you can keep saying that if you don't do it.
That Marvel show, though, is problematic for me.
Go on.
And the reason why it's been problematic for me, I've said it on I think I said it on my Instagram, just in the sense that I was like, I love the fact that the energy surrounding this fictional African space, this fictional African space is drumming up all of this energy. And I hope you go and see Africa. Because a lot of people, they're now connecting Africa with something quite positive with what Wakanda kind of shows in terms of its strength, its resources, the fact that vibranium, this powerful and most important resource, and they hold it and all of this stuff. But then, bruv, in part, the film is just a glorification of all things Africa, and it's not really taking the African essence in its full sense because it's so deep and so vast. So when you just see like clothing and you can say, wait, no, that's from Somalia, or that's from Nigeria, that's from Ghana, I think it does a disservice in part where we just take where we're just really kind of doing the same thing to our own culture, so to speak, which is misappropriating the visual aspects of our thing and lauding that, rather than saying to ourselves, no, what's actually happening in Africa? Who are the actual people? What is going on? And then connecting our people. And you can't do it in a Marvel film, I get that.
This is the point now.
But that's what I'm saying. But it's seeing that energy galvanize around this fictitious African space when Africa's actually there. That hurts.
You know what I call that? We call it the Obama effect. So it's like when Obama came along, the visual of Obama, i.e. a black man being the president of the United States, given the United States history, is enough and was enough just to inspire people.
And bruv, inspiring people is awesome. But we all say we want to see change. Wasn't that Obama's slogan? Hope and change. Was it change? Yeah. Or whatever. Was
yes,
it? Oh my God,
right?
Yes,
Hope,
we can. Yeah, so yes, we can. That's the point. It's a verb. It's an action. We've got to actually see that happen. And wanting to see that energy trickle to Africa is what I'm talking about.
But then how?
I don't know how Marvel does it. I don't know how Marvel does it.
It's not about Marvel. Go on.
Going back to the football bit, sorry. But you see how you were saying, oh, Jack Grealish got into the papers
Yeah.
and none of the other goal scorers did. If what's it called? It's only because of his celebration that's why he got into the.
Did the others not celebrate?
I know you're saying he had a special celebration.
What was his special celebration?
He did the what's it called Finley. Before that, he promised to this kid with a disability that when he scores his next goal,
he's gonna do this thing.
He's gonna do the celebration, but he didn't score until the World Cup. That's why he hit the papers.
Thank you for bringing some balance.
Very, very good too. Very, very good. Because that's true.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's also another thing that we have to be wary of. Is sometimes I think we can place instantly that lens on certain things.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, I think the conversation did take a turn.
Mm-hmm.
But in that moment, like you said, she probably just trying to say, oh, maybe she would say, yeah, I've been out to Angola before.
Yeah.
I lived there for a period. It was very, very nice. I enjoyed myself. Maybe the conversation could have gone there. Yeah. But then the essence of frustration, that's when it takes a turn. And I think, sometimes, and I think she did the best. She tried to kind of go, I'm giving you some rope here. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you guys leave records. But I don't know whether, I guess always, you know, I want to try and stay in the space of being balanced. Do we sense, or do people sense a bit of she had some vim when she said you didn't leave
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think for a lot of British people, that's probably where the conversation turned for them, because they would have been, well, that's just rude. You can't speak to royalty like that. But for me, I'm like, why not?
Well, okay. I think consequences matter. Like whatever you're going to do and you're going to stand on, just be prepared for whatever consequences come with it. Yeah. So I don't. You can try and do anything that you think you are just to do, but fam, if it's mad and it's against some laws, you're going to find yourself in some situations. And I don't think that would have given her a problem, because think about it, it went the other way.
Yeah.
Because that woman lost her. Yeah. Yeah. She's been
But then, all of that said, I do not agree with her being removed from duty. I feel like that was, and this is where we're at. So removing her from her duties was a knee-jerk reaction to appease people, because the royals are already like, we're coming off the back of all of this Meghan stuff. It ain't look good for us. So now you're just taking a sledgehammer to the situation of like, oh my gosh, racism bad. Hussy must go. And it's like, Hussy must go. And actually, if you took a step back, you could have released a statement that there was an apology. Like she, maybe against her better judgment, she was pressing for information that actually had nothing to do with her. She's apologized. Matter's done.
I don't know.
This whole thing of, because
I think that's just the climate we're in.
That's what I was going to say. But that's the problem. Is the cancel culture climate.
You just get out,
and it's no good.
I don't know. Not that I don't know about what your point is, but I think it's so nuanced, bro. It's like I don't think in that particular scenario there's anything they could have done that would have appeased one side. Because wasn't there also a scenario prior to that where Camilla and he's King Charles, shame.
No, you're king.
King Charles, I swear there was something that happened on their visit just before.
Yes, the video of Camilla,
the hand thing, holding, whatever that was.
But I saw a clip of it and I said, I can't. So I didn't even look into it.
So right now, this is going to sound mad dramatic, but you cut out the cancer, innit? That's what the man are doing. They're just going, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. Now.
Yeah. No,
there was
right,
too much. There was too much heat.
But here's the thing: is people can come for me what they want. The royal family is institutionally racist. For me, there's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it, and I don't even think like it's worth. To an extent, I don't even think it's worth them apologizing for that. Because if you just look at the family and where it's come from and its history, of course they're going to be. Yeah. All they can do now, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. I definitely don't think it's going to be something that's going to be in my lifetime. Is work slowly to move away from that.
And I
but
think,
you cannot erase your history.
And I think that's really where I will definitely rest my hat. The royal family and the idea of what they have amassed lives on the bed of colonialism.
Yeah.
And colonialism is exactly what it was. You know what I mean? It's even down to like when you watch the
Woman King.
Woman King, sorry. When you watch Woman King,
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand they also unveiled the other part of that same colonial activity, which was there were African countries who were also slavers.
Yeah.
So we have to also acknowledge some of us are a part of that same story. And so if we are going to say history, and I'm not trying to be like, well, if they have to do this, we have to do this. No, I'm trying to say that's just the facts. And if that's just the facts, they have to understand that their wealth in part is connected to a racist act.
Yeah.
We cannot remove that.
Yeah. And you also have to accept that if you can turn around and be like, well, that was in the past.
And yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Mhm.
But it still doesn't change the fact of it's why you are able to enjoy the things that you enjoy now. Yeah. And if people want to keep on bringing that up until you do something to rectify it, which we all know that you won't, then that's just something you're going to have to live with. That is a price.
Yeah, and you know what?
For your privilege.
And that's what I think is the challenge, is that, yeah, are they acknowledging it? That's all. I think that's what's important. We cannot go back and unravel any of that. We're here now. So what do we do moving forward? However, do you acknowledge that that is a part of said space? And I think what's interesting in that moment there with those two women is that it feels like she doesn't understand the Sarah Hussey doesn't understand why that might be problematic to the type of person you're talking to. That doesn't give you a sense of you acknowledge why that person might feel that way based upon what you're living with and what you're on. Like, yeah, bruv, you're going to feel a way about that as a black person because we know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And if you haven't had that training, if you haven't had that understanding, if you haven't taken atonement to what, unfortunately, the colonial acts of your forefathers and whatever did, you wouldn't understand that, you can't talk to a person like that.
Yeah.
Because for them, it comes with some baggage, bruv. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think this is, again, like going back to the comment section, and then you got a lot of white folk going, I used to live in Hong Kong, and people used to ask me all the time where I'm from.
That's right.
It wasn't a problem for me.
That's right.
Go on.
But you see what you're saying. I used to live in Hong Kong, but people thought it wasn't a problem for me. Yeah, you may find that it's not a problem at all, but you're not. But you can't speak for everybody else.
And this is the point and also you can't speak for
Okaija,
everybody else.
you are on fire, my bro. You can't speak for everybody else. And if someone else is bothered, they're bothered.
And the whole thing is my situation and your situation ain't the same.
Bruv, you know what? That's one of my biggest challenges just in functioning on the earth from time to time. And man said the earth, bruv. Because it's just like, we can all understand everyone's position. But if I am feeling some type of way, we can also acknowledge that too.
Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Is like, not everything is I say one, so you say two. Like, well, no, I can say one and you can say one as well. And we can, you know what I mean? It's like whatever I'm feeling, whatever I've done, whatever has happened to me does not negate your experience.
Exactly. It doesn't. And I think that in that circumstance, these people in part who live in that royal space, they have a responsibility to the nation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? As well as being a human and having all the rights that they have, we also see them as, we have to, because the crown is an important part of what it is to be a Brit. Because we all pay our taxes, the money, you know, HMRC, her royal, you know, it's all connected to the crown in some part. The crown has to go and the parliament has to go to the crown to say, can I make a government? Because this is their land. Okay, cool. But we all have to do that. But then you guys also have to understand that that person in your set of circumstances or whatever that situation was, is someone you're meant to look after too.
Yeah.
They're also a citizen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these people add value. She wouldn't be in that room if she didn't add value to the country in some way, shape, or form. That, yes, 100% the land you own.
Mm.
We cannot remove that. Just like she cannot remove the land I own in Ghana. I own that land. If anyone comes to my land, you can't come and just be mad on my land. So I get that.
In Ghana, they could do what they want. You know?
If they got money, they can do what they want. It's true. But at the same time, bro, it's my life. It's my land. I get it. But fam, that is one of a citizen. That is a person who is also adding value to this nation.
Yeah. And I think ultimately what this whole situation said to me is there is an underlying, and I don't even think it's intentional necessarily, but there's an underlying lack of respect for what we do, in the sense that I can't just be in this space and just be. Like,
we can't do that anywhere, bro. We can't do that anywhere. I always talk about just the notion of being a black man and constantly being in a space. And listen, it only makes me wonder about, and therefore our black women, and then our black women who are disabled, and then our black women who are disabled and have different sexuality. Bro, because like, you're always in a space of defense and offense. Am I meant to defend myself here? Am I meant to be offensive here? And so you're constantly always, and it's all energy that you're having to expend. So all of that, bruv, I say, yeah, ultimately you're right. It does make it difficult for people to see our value. But why, bruv, I can't even, you know what's jokes, bro? Oh my days, bruv. It's a minefield.
Yeah.
It's a flipping minefield.
So let me ask you. You tomorrow.
Oh, not even tomorrow. Tuesday.
What's happening Tuesday?
Wednesday.
What's happening Wednesday?
What am I doing tomorrow?
Sunday.
Yeah, you said you tomorrow.
Yeah, I said you tomorrow.
Go.
I was just giving an arbitrary example.
Oh,
so
okay.
You tomorrow.
I thought you was asking me something else.
No. So you tomorrow are in a space, and a middle-aged gentleman, no, slightly older, like 60 odd year. He's like, "Oh, so are you a part of this?" And you're like, "Yeah." So like, you're doing something at Spotlight. Okay. Well, you're a part of this. Oh, yeah. I'm like one of the founders. Oh, brilliant. How long have you been doing this? Oh, 20-something years. Great. So where are you from?
I don't understand. I would say. No, finish your question.
Sorry. No, that's it. I want to. Where are you from?
I'll say East London. That's exactly what I'll say. And then they'll ask me something else, and I won't say anything else. Sometimes I can choose not to say anything.
So in that situation, you're gonna like knuckle down and be like East London.
Why am I knuckling down? I'm from East London. Can you not hear my accent? We're in East London. I'm from here. Spotlight is in East London. Yeah? That's where the youths them and the people them train.
But why can he not know where your family are from?
Well, he didn't ask me that.
Right.
Because what I think sometimes is that I don't owe most people many things other than that I have promised you.
That's, you know what? See, I agree with what you just said there. But where I struggle is, where is the line?
You decide that line, my G. You decide that line. There are definitely circumstances where a question like that is valid as hell. I'm taking you back to my homeland. Oh, where are you from? That's valid. Oh, my family are from Ghana. That's what I'm taking you to.
I guess we have to warm up into it. You can't just.
I don't know,
you
bro.
can't just come in off the bat then.
But aren't you always just hot, bro? Sometimes just because you know, especially when you walk into certain circumstances, you know what time it is. But I think the moral of the story is be kind, fam. You don't know what you don't know what people are dealing with. You don't know what people are coming from, and what they're having to have to go through. And the more and more we can just focus on, like, just inviting space. So going, is it okay?
Yeah.
Can we discuss?
Yeah.
Is there a possibility we can talk about? I'm not too sure where you're at currently.
Yeah.
But where you're at currently, could we see eye to eye on this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Always just opening the space. Because in that circumstance, I do not understand why that was important Like, I tried to unpack it in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's that thing of like, you're right. Why is it necessary? Why do you need to know that? Why do you need to know that? And there is this thing of whenever we move into a space, people feel like it's okay because, and this is what people also have to be honest with, because people don't see us as British, they think it's okay out of nowhere to be like, well, where are you from?
Just because they see us as black.
Yeah. And that's what we are.
Bruv. I mean,
that's what we are.
Yeah, bruv. I just hope that one day this all don't matter, bruv. That Okai's great grandchildren are just moving on this planet with freedom. Just never ever feeling like, that's going on the mic, sir. Do you realize that?
We can hear all of this.
Yeah.
Just sit still, brother. Just sit still.
Man's there squeak. What you did? It's not needed. You're the producer. Is that producing the show?
No. Just be quiet.
Making them beat you over the rap team. Yeah, he's trying to tell us to wrap up. That's what he's trying to say.
Wrap up in it, yeah.
Nah, like, honestly, it's like, I just hope that them man can just be. It all don't matter in the end. But there will be something, because humans will be humaning. We'll find a way to human. And marginalize and give ourselves, oh, this person didn't go to this place, so that therefore they can't do this. Them man eat that. Bruv, why?
You know what? You summed it up. Humans will be humaning.
They will be humaning.
There's always going to be something.
Something, bruv. Your trainers, your haircut, your accent. Like, it feels like constantly people want to feel, but you know what? At the same time, we also, in this time of football, of World Cup, you want to also feel connected. Yeah. Hey, Ghana, hey! Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just who we are.
Yeah.
But we just need to be kind in between.
I'm going to wrap up on this.
Yes.
What you said just reminded me, and I totally forgot about it, was my 5 minutes of fame in the papers because of how I spoke. So,
yeah.
So for those, BBC. So for those that might not be aware, so I work as a freelance continuity announcer, and years ago when I started the gig at the BBC, as we have said throughout this podcast, we're from East London, and so I'm speaking. It was one night I was doing the lottery numbers, and I'm reading out the numbers. So it's like 12, 13, 23, and my TH wasn't THing.
Did you say 53 or something?
Yes, I said 53 instead of 53.
53, yeah.
Right? And the people went wild. Yeah. The complaints came in. I was in the papers, all this, that, and the other. And I remember at the time, just of this feeling of like, I will never belong. Like, because imagine that I am the pride that there's a picture of me. If I find it, I'll put it in the edit. There's a picture of me walking out of the BBC after I did my audition for the continuity team. And sometimes when you do something and categorically 100% I smashed that. Yeah. And that was the feeling I had. And I said,
why did you say your tea so good then? Just then?
But man
said that.
Yeah, because that's the residue of afterwards. But like, I was so proud of myself, and it really, even in that moment, didn't matter if I got the gig or not. But I knew that I went in there and I smashed
you gave
it.
your best shot.
And so now I'm doing something that I really love and enjoy. And I tell you what, reading all of the comments on the newspapers and everything like that, it really took the love out of it. And it was the realization of like,
I will never
there will never be a time where I can just be accepted for being British. But Chalet, we move. It is what it is.
bruv. And what I do is I take power and strength, knowing that our people suffered way more than this, bro.
Yeah.
And managed to fight through. So this is just ours.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
So that we can lay the better soil and the better ground, so that there's just another whole new version of this that our youths will have to deal with.
And I
then
think
from there,
even
we
their
continue to
fight,
build.
I hope is just a fraction easier.
Exactly.
And I guess that's all
and it is, and for us it has been,
yeah.
because at least our voices are at least being heard. And I do look at the generation below us, bro. Like, no, actually the decade below us, and them youths are moving different.
Yes,
we spoke about it already with Stormzy. When we were talking with Stormzy, I said I love the fact that this youth is able to talk in that way. And I'm not calling him a youth because I think he's a youth. I'm saying he's younger than me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he is able to talk with that energy. I wish I could talk with that energy when I was a kid. You couldn't. Your life would be finished, bruv.
Bro, I tell you something else, yeah? So at the moment, I'm doing a big clear out with the boys in their room. And then Akai came across one of his old school books, yeah? And I meant to take a picture of it there and then. In it, he wrote, do you remember what he wrote? Basically, he's got you and Ken in his book.
Yeah.
And he's written about how basically you guys were like inspirations, role models.
No. I
Go on.
know. So in Okai's
Into the mic.
humanities book, we do 2 lessons of humanities. We do humanities, then we do like another version of something like humanities. And we learn about inspiration. And while he was learning about inspiration, I'm coming on to that now since I'm in his year.
Yeah.
And he was saying, oh, you and Uncle Kenrick, while one of his inspirations making Boy Blue and carving the path to his, what's it called, success or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And like,
that's crazy.
For me,
wow, that
really I mean, I'm not you, yeah, but I feel like that's a massive validation,
bruv. I'll go a little bit left with that, bruv. Sometimes to even think about that is scary, because more than anything else, like what Stormzy was saying, bruv, I'm just trying to do my art.
Yeah, but well, here we go. So it goes full circle to what we were saying at the top, where it's just like you just have to do,
because, bro, if I was to think about all of that weight that Okaija is feeling, Uncle, that means it makes it like how I have to try and be, not fallible. I have to be clean, bruv. It makes, but you know what? That's what I always say.
But the great thing is that their level starts higher now.
Exactly, because to him, he's seen it. It's real.
Yeah,
But
to all of it, it's just like they were, you and Ken. You can see Uncle Melvin, Uncle Ricky on TV. So these things aren't even like,
they're not unfathomable. But Dad is doing continuity. Who knew job continuity when they landed in this country?
And this is
our parents. It was there for years. We were all listening to it,
but we didn't. And it's having access. It's having access. So like even the week just gone, he did a competition in school, and they had to design like a community center. And Akai's very artistic anyway, and really got into this thing. He's like, they went on to a trip to go and see this architecture firm. And so he's banging on about architecture. Oh, I really like... And then I remember like one of my cousins has his own architecture firm. And, this cousin, I don't really chat to them. Not out of, just life. But I sent him a WhatsApp. I said, bro, boys come home with this massive buzz about architecture. I was wondering if you have any time, I'd love to bring him down to the office. Man just shot back, bring him down. I'll do him a tour, I'll do him a talk, everything like that. And my thing is this, yeah, it's not even about Okaija then becoming an architect or anything like that.
Nah.
It's just about exposure.
It's just access.
And it's just having access to things that we never had access to.
Yeah. Bruv, it's beautiful because, like I said, I think our fight is what our fight is now. Our parents' fight was what their fight was, and then all of those other our ancestors who flipping lost their lives or found themselves in treacherous and disgusting situations because of the state of things at that time. Bruv, it's just like I just feel motivated, bruv.
Yeah.
That's what the crazy thing about all of this. It's like, really, and maybe this is where I'll stop talking actually. Really, we should have just ignored this woman and just continued talking amongst ourselves about the things we need to do.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. There are also distractions
Because
and we need to get
we
better at not
know
being distracted.
It makes sense that she would say that.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, cool. All right, so what are we doing now?
Yeah.
Bruv, I swear down, and I don't want to negate or change the fact that anyone's pain shouldn't be validated because we've already discussed that.
Yeah.
But the notion is, these things are but a distraction to the ultimate goal and ultimate things that we're already doing.
Yeah.
As number one, Black British, because I do own the British thing, and unlike say like Okaija is rolling with the Ghanaian thing, definitely is my blood. There is no two ways about it, from the food to the music to the notion of just the groove and the energy of what it is to be Ghanaian. But I and all the Black British people in the UK who have staked a claim here, we deserve it.
Yeah.
We deserve
110%.
everything that comes with it because we have added the value that us as Black Brits have added to this country. We deserve.
Yeah.
And we deserve the accolades. We deserve the exposure. We deserve the conversation. We deserve every other thing that comes with that. And we should continue to build and focus on that and not allow these people with their backwards mentality, unfortunately, to derail the job we are all doing.
Amen to that.
But then after, it's also like, if I say, oh, I'm English or British, I'm ashamed of my ancestors, because I remember I was looking for something and there was a pile of papers, behind our sofa, and I remember looking through them because I was looking for any letters for me, and I remember looking through them after I saw your dad's birth certificate, and I saw Jima and Granddad. They were both born in Ghana. So it felt like, oh, I'm not I say I'm not being good to Grandpa George if I'm not leaning into my
100%. But you know what I would like to just hopefully leave you with is that's true. That's where we have come from. These are all the things that live in our blood. You're right. But you have value and you have a place here.
Yeah.
And no one should be allowed to take it from you.
Because this is whether you like it or not, your Britishness is something that over the years you will also carve. Yeah. And your version of Britishness may actually just involve slightly more influence from your Ghanaian culture or whatever, but it's still you, it's still British, and it's still valid. Yeah, like a small thing I'll say is Ghana independence. The notion of what Ghana independence is, it was a thing in Ghana, of course, it's their independence, but we have our British Ghana independence thing. It's ours, but it's still connected to the land which our parents are from and which we have lineage to. But it's our version. We will always have our version of these things. So yeah, I hope in time, you feel even more comfortable to move just on the planet, bro. It's just that simple. You know what? It's just that simple. And it's on that. It's just like, this world belongs to you. Yeah. It belongs to all of us. Whether you are British, Ghanaian, or whatever, there's a whole world out there. Yeah. That you should explore. Yeah. Yeah. But Mike, nice one, my bro. We've done another one. For one question that was pretty deep. I hope people stayed with us on this one. Yeah. Because I think that there is no real answer, man. No, it's not about an answer. It's about experience, isn't it? I think it's like there isn't a right or wrong. It's not a test. It's like, how you deal with something, how I deal with something is going to be based on our characters, what we've been through, and what we're looking to get out of any given situation. You know, so it is what it is. It is what it is.
Exactly.
Go on, do the outro.
Well, guys, this has been the Chophouse. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Ding!
She said, ding.
Ding! There you go. Peace. We out.